there's some agency emerging within the network. And what I'm particularly interested in is how the homunculi can emerge within a network. Its delegation allows us to create something which is of us, but is autonomous. It's not us.
What I'm doing is try to find out new kind of self-organization that is emerging from the massive data flows, and I'm interested in accessibility of the data. So it's not that collecting the data from everywhere, but what I'm saying is the data structure itself is self-organizing to make a new kind of life forms.
So I work with brainwave monitoring, medical imaging, particularly the EEG. So I'm investigating lucid dreaming, which is a special paradoxical state of sleep because your brain appears in many ways to be very similar to a waking brain.
Let's go to the partner.
Milling machine. They can cut and engrave and construct a piece in aluminium or different metals.
I mean, homunculi, they take actions on behalf of humans, right? So it's a kind of, these actions they take, can they be input to a game?
I'm not sure that yet that we've got the games for the homunculi. We haven't got the homunculi to play the game yet. So I think down the line, that's a kind of interesting concept because that's also a way of maybe testing its existence.
The question is, so one idea would be to, it seems to be like, as humans we do lots of mundane tasks like open emails. You can open email from Amazon, you do this, and then you go on this website and you click this option. Whether you could have a system using your little homunculi that does mundane tasks for you, so you train them up.
Now it may be that we've got a bunch of separate agents that form a community and then become an entity, and then so it's where the point at which you lose control of it rather than you define it. So what I feel we need to do is be a bit more like kind of a shepherd and get things into the petri dish where actually the ignition takes place.
So we believe that there is an autonomous property that is inherited in the system, right? You can just half design it, then the system is autonomously can generate some structures, and then homunculus is one of those emergent property. That's the way that we have been working on complex system sciences or artificial life. So the autonomy is one of the most interesting and important property that we have to, install into the system.
Right.
It's only maybe it doesn't exist as a single processes or something. Maybe it's totally distributed, and sometimes it doesn't exist. Sometimes it emerges, but still, we need this word, this keyword to describe how the system works. That's what I think is homunculus.
Yeah.
Is coming out. How we can implement door opening property or door innovative systems, right? When we make this system, on top of it something emerges and then something emerges. So this kind of 3 steps, 4 steps.
Yeah.
What you can do is you can... How's it going?
Oh, we're round in circles.
Still round in circles, okay.
At the moment. Maybe we could help knit us together on a more simpler common theme. Yeah. And then we can start.
We could perform it in mind.
Start rolling around then.
7-minute presentation.
No, oh yeah, no, it is. But stop. Focus on the outcome.
Okay, Anna, join us together with a common theme.
Okay, go on.
We're discussing.
It's lucid dreaming of the brain and augmented consciousness. I'm glad to see that you found the room with the most chemicals in it. So that's obviously healthy.
And 3D printers. Yeah.
Both of you, I can understand. Did you?
Yeah.
Had a great deal of trouble today actually coming up with a holistic, agreed kind of focus on this because it's very complex. And we're approaching a level of complexity that one can identify as possibly a conscious state. Is that right? So what we will be doing tomorrow, some of us, is making a physical manifestation of this data emergent property, probably being able to listen to it and might be able to see a bit of it. I think we'll stop there.
Okay.
That's not helping.
What's now?
All right. Okay. We now have Takeshi's brainwave.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you explain a little bit?
Okay. So
This is the jet lag spikes.
what
What are the red bits? They're looking a bit scary.
Yeah.
So you'll notice if you go like wow like that, it goes. So
Okay.
if you're performing with EEG, you learn to just relax around the eyes. You can move. You're portable. You can move around this room. Although I took my Bluetooth dongle out, the range is about 5 meters.
Dropping there. Is that his eyes closed?
Yeah, he's controlled the eye movement now, so
Now
that's.
the eyes are closed. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
So it's his massive electrical signature.
Look, that's kind of cool.
Interestingly, he's not producing any beta. I thought he'd be very beta concentrated person. Probably I am at the moment because I've got a headache and I've got lots of coffee in me, but come on, more. Squeeze harder. Yes. Hang on, don't swap.
You are one.
You are one.
Right.
I
You
feel
are one.
connected.
You are now one excitable media entity.
But is it so that that side is only you all the time, and here we are now together? Or is that the?
All this kind of
Okay.
When you share the ground, we're now seeing
Okay, that's the.
from your right side and Takeshi's left side. Takeshi's also got
Yeah.
has the ground and negative, so there's effectively more signal from Takeshi.
Yeah.
It is the first time that we've connected coherence between this.
A moment in history.
I don't know. That looked great. I think it's when you laughed.
Really?
Maybe that was a homunculi.
That was beautiful.
A humorous homunculi.
That's what they did.
And it was like somebody was saying yesterday about how we know what things taste like this table. We know what this table would taste like if we licked it, which means they said that we must have licked something like this before because we have no idea. And I said, no, your brain's just filling in.
So the brain is an excitable medium.
It's creating, creating.
It is actually a dynamic, fluxing, pulsing. You know, how much in the same kind of model? How much of the internet is the internet thinking about itself? Right. So how much of the
That
internet?
sounds a bit like postmodern theory, and I don't know what that means.
So the problem we've been exploring is how to visualize a society of minds, and how to exist with and in or within big data. Now the point about data is not that it's static and in a database, but actually that it's a real-time dynamic model that's constantly changing. In terms of the data and the information that's in there, only 7% of it is the incoming data. The rest of it is data generated by the brain knowing itself. The exciting thing about this process is that when we started looking for the homunculi, we were thinking, how do we design it? Well, the point about these excitable states is that emergent properties will happen. It's a process that you can't design. You can only recognize it when it's formed. So what you have here is some clouds here, and what you can see are emergent properties that are coming from that. This is called self-organization. This process taught itself to recognize a cat's face. Okay. And in doing so, created a neuron that recognizes a cat's face. Produce the homunculus neuron. A neuron that recognizes the homunculus, thereby bringing that into being. Okay. Now, we don't know what the homunculus actually looks like, but we do have an effort to visualize it here. This state, this emergent property, will be the neuron, and will be the homunculi, and the neuron will recognize it when it sees it.
But now I'm very interested of this idea, okay, if we can create a model of, some kind of a model of homunculi, like in a similar way that the cat face, can we really produce this neuron? So that's really, I think, an interesting question.
Once we make a life system, intelligence is a side effect of the living system. So what we have to do is, first of all, create a life, then intelligence is coming out automatically. And then what we want to do is a new way of understanding complex systems, but at the same time try to understand what is consciousness. In the field of artificial life or complex system sciences, the people are discussing that we do understand what is physical chemical processes completely, but what we don't understand is what is life and what is consciousness on top of it, right? And then people are saying that okay, don't talk about consciousness of life because we completely understand physics and chemistry. That's all, right? Don't think about it. Life doesn't exist. That's what people gradually try to think about because it's so complex and we don't know how to do it, right? But this project is trying to reinvent life and consciousness and try to understand it. Try to invent the method to understand what is life and what is consciousness.
The brain is not a dead thing. It is alive. It's four-dimensional. And nobody quite knows where consciousness is, but where it might lie or exist or emerge from is this excitable media, numbers. This stuff is dynamic. So the data that we're looking at, yes, it is Twitter, but it is also the petabytes of data that are built up in real time on the traffic flow of cities, on the spread of epidemics around countries at any one moment. So we're looking at massive data sets, non-heterogeneous data which is just extremely big. And like the brain, online data is also an excitable medium. Right? Revolutions emerge from the same process. Doesn't really matter how often or how hard you clamp down on all of these little excitable medias that we carry around in our head. Things bump into each other, things rewire, new ideas and revolutions. Here's our proposition. A new neuron in the brain specifically designed to recognize the homunculus. And that this homunculus is a relationship that we have with these big data systems. Somewhere along the way, and it's difficult to know, and of course this is a very select group of people here who may not even know that they are so rarefied, but there are large kind of institutions all around the world which are busily separating out those kinds of activities. The technology, the science, and the art. They're called universities, they're called galleries, they're called... These traditional institutions are creating this disjunction. So now, most of the art we have is actually something we're trying to preserve that happened yesterday. The stuff that Roy was talking about, and that kind of vanguard of forward-thinking, future-thinking activity is for some reason now a rarity. So the instruments, I think, allow us to start having some kind of conversations. And the problem is these are not just the kind of Android, Arduino kind of simple technologies. These we need to have a better understanding of the big technologies, because if you think about it, the last real technology the majority of artists will use will be cameras or video cameras. Okay, that's when the narrative in art history stopped for most people. So if our philosophy, our culture is going to thrive and grow in response to these emergent conditions, we really have to start dealing with it properly. And that's, I think, what we were trying to do with discovering the